All right, Steve, we've discussed at length what we think could potentially happen to Ohio State, some of the fallout. There's still more fallout to talk about. I want to lead this video off with, why is it that Ohio State, when we joked about if there's one school who may be more SEC-like in the Big Ten, it's Ohio State. We've always felt that way. I know Michigan fans have always certainly felt that way.
Well, felt that way in recent years.
Okay.
And the evidence for why is beginning to come to light.
No question about it. Why Ohio State? I mean, why have they been this university? What makes the situation in Columbus, Ohio unique to, I mean, there's boosters everywhere. There's boosters in Iowa, there are boosters in Michigan, but what is it that maybe causes the Ohio State boosters to cross more lines than any other program in the Big Ten?
John, I think that's a great question, and I think you have to understand the demographics of the Big Ten Conference. If you throw Pennsylvania with the addition of Penn State out the window, the city of Philadelphia,
they have a lot of Amish.
Well, but they're not part of the traditional Big Ten. They're recent, since 1993.
Amish could be boosters.
All right, because this is a problem that goes back even before this. You know, I once sat over at the Latin King restaurant on the east side of Des Moines having lunch with Earl Bruce, telling me lots of old yarns about Woody Hayes. A couple of them involved Hayes' dealings with overzealous boosters, and this was back in the 60s and 70s. Okay, and you've heard me tell you some of those stories.
They're my favorites.
Hayes ran up against this too, and I think it's because demographically, Ohio State has a benefit but also a detriment no other school in the Big Ten has. The state of Pennsylvania aside, where you have Philadelphia, which is one of the top 5 markets in America now, outside of Chicago...
No one thinks of that as a Big Ten town.
No, that's my point. Outside of Chicago and Detroit, the next largest city in the Big Ten footprint and in the Midwest is Columbus, Ohio.
That surprises me.
Okay,
I would never have guessed that.
And you take into account, you have all those Ohio State alums. It's largely a commuter school. Almost anybody with a decent GPA in high school gets admitted to Ohio State if they're an Ohio native. So and they have a tendency to congregate around the school. You throw that in the fact that their rich alumni aren't buying skyboxes to the Columbus, Ohio NBA team, the Columbus, Ohio NFL squad, the Columbus, Ohio Major League Baseball team that you see in most other markets about the size of Columbus, which means there's nowhere else to divert their resources.
There's no other jocks to sniff.
That's right, which means they focus all of that attention and energy on the athletic program at The Ohio State University. And that's helped Ohio State be SEC-like until recently when Michigan invested, when you look at their total investment, about $300 million in their facilities. Ohio State was way ahead of every other school in the Big Ten from a facility standpoint.
Well, number 2 in all of college football in revenues.
Yeah, and that's not just talking football and basketball. We're talking all the sports.
Their athletic department's number 2 in all of college football behind Texas.
Yes. And so that's obviously a benefit to them, but it also means you got to put up with the seamy underside of that as well.
Which is why you have 7 full-time compliance officers.
That's exactly why you have 7 full-time compliance officers, and still 7 weren't able to hear or see any evil until it was brought to light by Sports Illustrated and bloggers and Yahoo.com. Yeah, and
the program killer.
So they have a culture there that doesn't exist anywhere else in the Big Ten Conference. Northwestern, yes, they're in Chicago, sort of. They're tucked away in a hamlet.
Not a Northwestern town.
Yeah, and Chicago is probably more of a Michigan, Notre Dame, Iowa town than a Northwestern town.
Yeah, no doubt.
You look at Minnesota's in the heart of Minneapolis, but again, you've got football, basketball, baseball there. So this is the only major metropolitan mecca in the entire Big Ten, John, where the only sporting entity that all of the sports people, the jock sniffers as you call them, they have to invest their resources in is Ohio State athletics. And so it almost makes it virtually it does to a point, almost make it impossible to police the atmosphere, which is why I feel no remorse at all for what Ohio State gets. I hope they get everything coming to them, because all Jim Tressel had to do, all he had to do to avoid almost all the stuff that's going to come to light here in the next few weeks and months coming to light, all he had to do was tell the truth the first time. If he had told the truth the first time, none of the rest of this would have emerged. Most of it would have gone away. There would have been a suspension of the players. Everybody, time to move on. He's still a coach at Ohio State. Everything else, nothing else gets looked at. He opened up this can of worms by lying, proving that we still haven't learned from Watergate that it's never the crime brother but the cover-up.
Well, it's hope the Sugar Bowl victory was worth it, because that's in essence one of the main reasons why he lied to keep those players eligible. Who knows? I'm not sure if we'll ever really know, but it is really amazing when you look at it, and I think you break it down well with regards to why Columbus is unique in this There are rogue boosters at Iowa. There are rogue boosters everywhere.
Yeah.
But there's not this level.
It's not. There's a primordial soup of this. I mean, they breed these at Ohio State, and it's because it's a major metropolitan area.
Herb Street moved out of the state.
It's a major metropolitan area with a lot of money and a huge media market, and there's no other place to really divert all of that attention other than Ohio State athletics.
And that's why they're in trouble. Thanks for watching.